welcome to the Redux Webinar. My name is Dovy. I'm one of the co-founders. With me is Dan Griffiths and Kevin Provence and a few others that are welcome and coming. We're really excited. We hope that you enjoy this webinar, get something out of it, and learn a lot about Redux. So today we're going to talk, essentially, the whole point of Redux Framework is to reduce your effort, right? To allow you to innovate and not replicate. We don't want you to have to recreate something that we've already done or others have done. We've taken the best that we can from many of the major frameworks out there and put them into one single utility. And we'll go over all the features and the benefits of this framework here shortly. Another reason that we're doing this, a quote from Einstein: two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity. I'm not sure about the universe. I'm not saying you're stupid, but some of our users are not quite savvy. And so the simpler we can make it, the more dummy proof we can possibly make any of our fields or anything, the happier we as developers will be, less support calls, etc. So that is kind of a mantra that we follow here at Redux Framework. So essentially, we've taken most of the major fields. You'll notice something about Redux. We don't create new fields when we want a new feature. We add features to an existing field. That way you don't get confused. Almost every single one of these fields has a variety of options that give you the power you need to accomplish whatever you want. Some of these key things that I'd like to point out are really powerful. Our typography module is second to none. It allows you to utilize Google Fonts automatically. It will automatically also append the fonts to your front end for you with a full preview. We'll go over that. All the jQuery URI sliders, native gallery, native media field, raw field, background field. A lot of these fields also feature something called output, where you can specify CSS selectors and it will dynamically generate CSS for you. There's also, let's go over here to the features where we talk about a compiler. There's the concept of a compiler support in here, where you could integrate, say, a less compiler or anything that might be too heavy of processing that you don't want to occur on every save. There's a little hook and a function in the sample config that will allow you to, whenever one of those fields changes, it will flag it and run that function so that you can run your process. Now with that, the compiler and the CSS output are denoted by the arguments compiler and output. You can put in CSS selectors for either of those. We'll generate that CSS. And if you set it to the compiler argument for each field, it will only generate that CSS in a variable that's passed to your compiler hook. So you can regenerate your own CSS on the fly. Redux can be run as a plugin or embedded. You can have unlimited amounts of Redux framework instances in the same WordPress install. It's completely ThemeForest compliant. We have built this entire thing to work according to the ThemeForest rules. There's validation, it's extremely fast. I mean, the features, you'll notice they are quite vast. Let's talk a little bit about the origins of Redux. Take it away, Dan.
Redux was founded on an idea. As Dovy indicated earlier, we were trying to come up with the best possible solution that allowed you to focus on your creativity rather than on the fundamentals of how the actual control panel would work. Up until Redux came around, there were innumerable control panel options out there, but every single one of them suffered from one flaw or another. Oh, hang on.
Everything okay, Dan?
Yeah, we have a user saying that my volume needs to be turned up. Is that better?
Ah, okay. Thank you.
All right. Redux originally was intended to be a simple fork of what was known as NHP Options Framework. My original vision was simply to fix the bugs in NHP and add a few features that some of the NHP users had requested, and leave it at that. Thankfully, at this point in time, our users weren't happy with that. You wanted more, and as such, Redux was born. Couple of months after I originally started working on it, I met Dovy, and as they say, the rest is history.
Yeah, so Redux is actually a combination of a variety of frameworks. I started on the opposite side. I started on SMOF. SMOF users, what up? SMOF to me was the most beautiful option framework out there. But then I noticed that there were some inconsistencies in the coding, not on the part of Syamil, the creator, Syamil MJ, but rather in the fork that the originator option framework where it came from. And so I started looking and I found NHP. I thought, what if we put together or married SMOF and NHP, and I created what was called simple options. It didn't take long for Dan to find me and us to decide that we worked better together than apart. And so Redux is essentially four frameworks in one. So a little bit of the history of these different frameworks. SMOF originated, simply modified option framework, originated September 29th in 2011. NHP in April 9th of 2012. Redux 2.0, Dan's fork of NHP, on November 28th. And simple options started July 20th. We started Redux framework, I believe it was September, uh, and we basically brought those all together. Now, over the time that we were working, there came a point where we started talking to the original developers, Lee Mason, who created NHP. He's a fantastic PHP programmer. Syamil, of course, of SMOF, fantastic designer, fantastic coder. And eventually, SMOF and NHP joined us. So if you can see, here's our progress. These are statistics taken from the GitHub API of usernames who have contributed to the different projects and how many have actually interacted with us on Redux Framework, the new repo. So we have a pretty good conversion rate. We're doing pretty well. We're at 48.7%. And when you think about that, that's only with SMOF only converted with us a couple weeks ago, a couple months, like a month maybe. So we launched on September 9th, 2003. In 5 months, we've gained 1,100 users. I think that's amazing. I think that we are doing a fantastic job and we're really excited. So we want to give you a little bit of an understanding of where we stand compared to the other option frameworks, because a lot of option frameworks out there are really powerful, but we want to show you the exposure and how people are feeling about it. So essentially, here's a chart. Again, this is all from GitHub data. We're looking at every repo to see people who have commented, who have asked questions, who have starred or forked, and we're comparing the numbers. But then I went through and compared the unique users, and I noticed the migration from different people, or at least the exposure of Redux to these users. And so there you can see some statistics. But in a matter of 5 months, we have climbed to nearly the same level, on GitHub at least, of Option Framework, the largest and most known framework because of name and because of longevity. So we're really excited about what we're doing. So now it's actually Kevin's time. I'm going to unmute you, Kevin. Can you talk now, Kevin?
There we go. Yeah, can you hear me?
Woo! A little loud.
Yeah, I'm here.
Turn your volume down a tiny bit.
All right. How are we doing now?
Okay, that's better. Okay, Kevin's going to take it away and introduce the team, Ish.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Who are we? My name is Kevin Provence, but I'm not first. Let's start with Dan, shall we?
Just so you know, this is alphabetical, not ordered of importance.
Right. Dan is the creator of Redux 2, which was an original fork of NHP, if I'm not mistaken. Dovy, our glorious leader, who brought this whole project together, all the previous frameworks together, and my mentor, master coder, guy's a genius.
Whatever. And Dan had just as much involvement there.
True, absolutely. Then there's me. I'm a copy editor, bug squasher, and I'll be authoring here shortly some extensions for the Redux framework, a date time picker, and if I get my way, I'll be writing an extension to show you which users are online and where they're coming from in terms of location and refer. So I'm excited
Awesome.
to get that off the ground. We
Tracking.
have, exactly, yeah. We have Lee, and somebody's going to have to remind me which framework was
Original
his.
developer from NHP.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Lee Mason. Amazing guy.
I've not yet had the privilege of talking to him, but I've heard nothing but great things. And of course, there's Syamil MJ, who is the mad genius behind Smoth, which was the framework I started using, which eventually led me to Redux. And Syamil is just he's been so integral with the Smoth code coming over and joining our team, because I mean Smoth was it was an incredible tool, and we're really thrilled to have his contributions to the Team Redux.
Yeah. Let's go over that a little bit. Shamil is actually, I don't think he's present right now, but this is a little bit about him. He was interacting with me. I didn't know if he was going to make it. He said he was going to try. He's a windsurfer. He's a ship technologist and a programmer. Uh, and he created Smoth because he didn't feel like there were any option panels out there that were pretty enough to exist in WordPress. Like they weren't visually appealing enough or functional enough. And he wanted to give a shout out to some of his friends, AJ Clark, partners, Smartic89, for all their contributions, and many others who have contributed to Smoth. We are really excited to have him on the team and look forward to bringing the Smoth community here with us. Now, also, Lee Mason, the NHP developer, we wish that he could come here as well, but he didn't make it. Um, he is like he is one of the best object-oriented programmers in the WordPress industry that I have seen. And so he helped us to make Redux completely object-oriented, because NHP was the first framework that divided its fields into individual classes so that we can easily extend or push and pull. So SMOF option framework, option tree, a lot of them use all of their fields in one single massive class. We, on the other hand, have them in individual chunks so that we can actually override any field at any time before it's displayed. That brings a lot of power, and that's because of Lee. And now Kevin.
That's me. And somehow Lee's top skills are also mine. Go figure.
I forgot to update Lee's top skills. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no offense, Lee. Anywho, my top skills. Well, I'm computer whisperer. This is besides writing code, which is the number two code monkey. I do the IT work, fixing hardware, fixing client computers. It was my first passion, which ultimately led to the software side. Number two, code monkey. I started mostly with Visual Studio back in the mid to late 90s, and eventually worked my way up to web development. And of course, starving writer. If you don't know, I write, I edit, and that's a hobby that I wish were a career, but Redux needs me, so what are you going to do?
If any of you like our documentation or like that there is some documentation, you have Kevin to thank, because I am not the best copywriter, the best documenter, and Kevin picks up the slack. There's still room to improve. Like, on that regard, if anyone's looking at the wiki and they find something that's not documented, it is open edit. Please,
Yes,
please contribute and edit and make those documentation pieces as full as possible. Thank you. Okay, let's meet Dan.
Hello, hello, hello. Um, First of all, I have a bone to pick with Dovy. Drill sergeant is an Army word, and I was never in the Army.
I'm sorry, I gave it to you last night to copy. You fell asleep, dude.
Um, well, as the slideshow indicates, I have a little bit of an obsession with history, both technologically and generally. Um, yes, Patrick, I'm a jarhead. Um, Semper Fi, brother. Uh, where was I? Oh, I am an API junkie. I absolutely love working with APIs. You take a look at some of my plugins that are out there, and I've got a bunch on Code Canyon. I've got a whole bunch for easy digital downloads out there, and I've got a bunch on the WordPress repo, and probably 2/3 of them are API oriented. I also write APIs, most notably the EDD API. And if it isn't obvious enough already, I spend a lot of time working on easy digital downloads in addition to Redux. Um, Beyond that, I mean, I've already kind of gone over my history a little bit. Um, I love the direction that we're taking Redux, and I can't wait to see where we're going to be tomorrow.
Thanks, man. I'm Dovy Pokshtis. I am a designer nerd geek, and unfortunately, I change the code way too often without documenting, as I let you know. Um, I currently have 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, and my wife is pregnant with twins. I'm very much a family man, and for me, thank you. And for me, the principle of KISS is imperative. Um, I want everything, if you contribute code, it needs to be simple. It needs to work simply and it needs to be complete. And in addition, if you have a field that doesn't make it simple for users, doesn't do dummy proofing, I'm going to kick it back to you because everything needs to be as simple as possible. For example, our slider. I took the time to make sure that the slider would auto update if they put numbers inside the text box. It would automatically change the slider. That's not a typical feature in other frameworks, but it makes it simple for users. But don't take our word for it. We're going to go a little bit over showcases. Final Destiny here. Can you raise your hand, Christy? Ah, there you are. Make panelist. Okay, just 1 second. Christy, you should be able to speak if you want to. Are you there?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. First, let me say thank you for having me here. I'm Christian. I'm a Team Forest author for like 2 years now. Some of you know me by the name Final Destiny. I started using Redux like 2 months ago. I must say I'm quite impressed by the quality of it and the design. I've been using it for just 2 themes now. I used NHP before for basically all my themes. So far, I'm quite satisfied with Redux. I'm really looking forward for all the new features and good work.
Thanks so much. We also
Hey,
have,
Dovy,
yes, sir.
really quickly, one of our users just posted congrats for your twins on the way, and I want to echo that sentiment.
Well, thank you. We've always
There
wanted
are,
twins. We've always wanted it. We've got our work cut out for us, don't we?
yeah.
So, AJ Clark, I don't. Are you in the audience, AJ? Can you? I don't see him anywhere. Uh, AJ Clark, WordPress Explorer. We featured him. If you haven't seen the Envato article, you might as well look it up. He also is one of our lead users. And he has the most tracked instances of Redux. We'll talk about Redux tracking and how we use that panel to improve, or the tracking situation to improve our panel and to improve that for our devs. But he essentially, Total is a fantastic product. Give it a try. It's also one of the top sellers of Redux right now. We have more themes coming, but we just wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out. We've got one other guest here that we'd like to point out. His name is Ari. I call him Ari. So here, let me see. Unmute you. Are you ready to speak, Ari?
Yeah, hello there.
Can you turn your mic up a little bit more?
Actually, on my
Or just speak
Android
closer
phone.
to it?
Yeah, how about now?
That's better. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Ari. I built the Shoestrap theme, and after trying every other framework out there, with Dovy's help, we ended up using Redux. Actually, that was before Redux was built. Uh,
Yeah, I'll explain.
Basically,
Ari and I worked together on Shoestrap, and we integrated Smoth, but we found that it wasn't powerful enough. So I sought out for another solution and built simple options from Smoth and NHP. So if it wasn't for the Shoestrap project, which is open source, Redux 3.0 as we have it would never come to be.
Shoestrap, as Dovy said, is open source, so if anyone wants to take a look at it, you can just download it. And that's all I have to say. Shoestrap is just awesome. Uh, it's the easiest framework to work with.
Yeah. Shoestrap basically gives you these three things: the Roots project, Bootstrap 3, and a less compiler, all integrated with Redux framework. So you get all the power and options of Bootstrap 3 without having to do much work. Tons of hooks, tons of integration, and tons of time. Aria's done a fantastic job. And if you haven't seen it and you want a boilerplate with built-in Bootstrap, you should check out Shoestrap. Thank you, Ari.
Thank you.
Okay, Dan. Are you there, Dan? Go
Yep,
for it.
sorry, I was finishing up a response to someone.
No worries. Go for it.
um, so our purpose. Um, well, we want to unite and benefit the majority of the WordPress, Dovy, theme, and plugin developer communities.
Sorry.
Um,
And plugin, yes.
I think I'm the only person that actually sees this as a viable product for plugins, but
Oh, it's a
I actually do
fantastic.
use it. I actually do use Redux in several plugins. Um, in fact, interestingly, plugins are the reason I originally started working on it. Um, we want to see Redux become basically the de facto framework for options. We want, when someone is developing a new plugin and they say, you know, I need an options framework, we want them to immediately think Redux. We want to make everyone's life easier. We want to make everyone have a basically universal experience. We don't want, if you install 10 plugins right now or 10 themes, you can have 10 different control panels, and we don't want that. We want everyone to have a familiar, consistent user experience.
And not just that, we love the different frameworks. There are a lot of great ones, but I feel like sometimes that effort is divided and we end up reproducing the same work. So if we can create a platform where we can all work together and instead of just copying each other, we can unite. That's the goal of Redux. That's why we built it. And we hope that you see that. Dan?
You're making my life difficult. I'm trying to answer user questions. Dovy, you're on your own for the questions for a moment. Yeah, we need you to grow. We need our users. As I've indicated before, and others have as well, Redux wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for all of you. Probably 9 out of 10 things that get added or changed to Redux framework came about because a user said, hey, can you do this? Or, hey, this isn't working the way it should, or I think it should. We, as developers, you know, we could be the best developers in the world, but we don't necessarily know what you need or what you want. So the only way we can improve is if our community joins us. Give us ideas, give us feedback, tell us when we do something stupid. It does happen. You know, tell us what you want to see. This is 2014 is the year of Redux. We need you to help us make that happen. We need you to show us where you want us to take it.
Now, so that you are aware, we are creating a marketplace, and we do have some premium uh, extensions. Some of these include meta boxes, widget areas, shortcodes. We'll go over these, but uh, the reason we're doing that is we need to support this project. We want this project to go further. But also, if you are a developer, if you have an idea for a field or an extension or something cool that you would like to do with Redux, we would love to take your work and sell it, and get you some exposure and just improve the community. Uh, Anything that's
And get you
free,
some money.
yeah, and get you some money. I mean, we are all making money off of using this product. You are. If you use it in a theme that sells, you've made money. And this is a way for you to give back, to get the features you need so you don't have to reprogram it, and so that everybody can continue to improve and grow. So if you want to keep in touch with us, we're getting to the end of our presentation portion, and then we're going to go into demonstration of the different things. But if you want to keep in touch with us, there's of course various channels that you can talk to us. This entire webinar will be deployed to, well, placed on YouTube very shortly for you to watch, and we'll be splicing it out and pulling things in and out. Visit our website, uh, tweet us, watch our GitHub list, contribute. There's nothing more that you can do than to find a small bug and to fix it instead of just telling us about it. Send a pull request. You will make this product much better, and we need you. So now we're going to go a little bit into a demo. Kevin, are you ready to demo?
I'm here.
Okay, do you want me to run the demo and you just speak it type of thing?
Okay, we can do that. I also mentioned we should probably get a Facebook out there too.
We do have a Facebook account.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it listed. My bad.
I just didn't list it, so you can visit us online. So this is our demo. Everybody can access it right now, demo.reduxframework.com. We're going to go over the fields, and then we're going to go into advanced configuration after this. So if you want a broad overview, this is this is specifically for you. So to start with, you'll see here are the basic things that we support. We'll go over each of them, and Kevin will basically chat. So here we go, Kevin. Take it away.
All right. All right, we have the web fonts uploader.
That's not one of us. Somebody uploaded that. Thank you.
Yeah, not sure who that is.
Hey, we've been dealing with that issue with users being creative on the demo all morning.
Bless you, people. We love you guys and girls, everyone. So this is also the section field. We right now have a limitation. Our group field wasn't good enough, so we pulled it out. And so we have a little shim in there. It's called the section field that will create an indentation of any number of fields within it. So it can give you the effect of a group, but without repeatable. So that's what you're seeing here. And like we were saying, with media fields, here's a standard media field. Here's a media with URL and preview. Here's a media without URL that also does preview. Here's the media no preview. I mean, every field has so many configuration options. It's basically up to your imagination what it can do. So, Kevin, do you want to keep going, or do you want me to take it?
Yeah, I'm sorry. See, we have the add edit a gallery. This is where you click the add edit gallery. You can easily include images and.
Woo! That's kind of crazy.
Oh my! I hope all of these are suitable for work.
Sorry.
You might not want to scroll.
I'm not going to. But
So
there.
You create the gallery with any images you have in your WordPress media.
Yeah, this is full native. So yeah, thank you.
The jQuery UI slider, you can enter your values. The slider will automatically update. Now, alternatively, you can drag the slider and the number will update. This particular example uses steps where you move the slider and it moves in steps of 5.
So the jQuery spinner.
Switch on.
Yep. So we have this concept of folding, or required. It was called folding in SMOF. It's called required in Redux, where you can set the visibility of a field based on another. So here you can see that the image patterns only appear when the switch is turned off.
And currently, it's only works for one nested level. In the future, we plan to offer multiple nested levels, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. And actually, there's operations. You don't have to say off. You can say set it for this value, equals, doesn't equal, less than, greater than, not equal. There's a whole bunch of different operations you can do with required. It gives you a lot of power. Previously, we had nested, but we got rid of nested to give operations, and we'll add nested back in as the demand is there and people request it.
Did we get the image options?
Yeah, and that's patterns. There's a whole bunch of mess with that. We'll talk about presets here in a second. Here's
All right.
you've seen the drag and drop sortable before, but what we did is we put limits in there. So you can limit how many different feature or items you want on a certain section. This is great for a homepage slider if you want to put different blocks. You got to thank one of our users because they were the one who suggested us to limit it. That way you can specify what boxes could go, say, on the homepage and turn it on or off. So here's
There's the hot girl again.
Somebody's wife is not going to be happy being broadcast across the internet. Presets. How many of you out there have ever wanted to have the ability to actually update fields in your panel based on another? Say you want to have a color palette, or you want to change your headers. The image select field has an option called preset where you can pass a JSON string, or you can pass an array. And what it will do is when you select one of these, it will automatically update the panel with these values changed. So let's here, jQuery UR slider example 1. Where are you? So they're at 111, 125. If I click here and make this change, what it's going to do is actually change those values that I set in here to be something else. You'll see settings imported, and you'll scroll down, and there the sliders automatically changed for you. So that's really powerful for you to be able to send multiple designs for your given theme at once. So, okay, I have to explain this one. This is my baby. I spent 3 weeks to a month on this alone. Here's a standard typography field, all right? So you've got a bunch of different fonts and, oh, cool, it automatically updates. But how about all of the Google fonts as well? This integrates completely the Google fonts. And what's more is it shows you all the different styles, heights, Latin, extended, etc. And you can also create a backup font for those fonts in case they don't want to authorize JavaScript from another site. Now, the great thing about the typography field is when you choose a Google font, it will automatically append all the different styles you have set for that Google field to your header for the front page. So if anyone's ever tried to do this, Google doesn't offer standard sizes. They offer a variety of different sizes. And we built this so that you can automatically have Redux without you even touching it, append for you the style sheet for this given font and all your fonts. There's also an option that you can append all the styles for a given font field. There is one limitation in this font field, and that limitation is you have to have a font family because the entire thing is based off font family. But you'll see that it will automatically update, give you previews, and the front end will be dynamically generated. So now let's hop over to general settings. We once again have the image select here. The ACE editor. You want to take that away, Kevin?
I love the ACE editor. It is so awesome. The ACE editor, you can type in there based on mode, okay? Like this mode is for CSS, where you type in your attributes, your elements, and they are colored, formatted properly so that you can see your, like I said, your elements and your values and so on and so forth. It works with CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and a few others that don't come to mind.
Yeah, and it also gives you errors if you have problems. This is visual response for your users, so they can do things, and if it doesn't work, you can say, hey, is there a yellow box? Does it a yellow alert sign? Are you doing it wrong?
It's beautiful.
So, of course, full editor support, visual and text. A user pointed out that by default, we make it slim, so your custom shortcodes are not included. You just have to pass the field arguments, ARGS, and you can override that and do anything. SMTP account, multi-text, theme selector. Okay, so the body background field also generates CSS for you. So, oh, let's be careful. Don't look. Don't look. But what it will do is you can have a full preview here, and this too will automatically append to your website for you if you set the CSS selector to body, all the CSS. So your user can make all their choices according to this. You can say attachment, I want it to be fixed. So, oh, now it scrolls with me. So imagine doing this for an unlimited amount of blocks. You can do anything with it, essentially. We have standard color with transparency check that also does output, an RGBA selector because everybody wants RGBA, but WordPress hasn't integrated it. A concept of transparency, or I mean gradient rather, so 2 color codes. Links field, border options. So you can do different borders. You can do all at once, or you can specify which ones you want to display, and that also does output. Padding, margin, spacing, dimensions, fonts, text area. Now, field validation, this is kind of a fun one. Say you have you only want a valid email to be included. If you hit save and you put validation for email to be true, it will not save an email that is not valid. So it'll just automatically put it back. So we have all of that. Color validated will do the same thing. So it's also not only validation, but sterilization, sterilizing the data. So those are a few of the options. And if you want a new validation, please contribute it.
Or request it.
Or request it. So, I mean, there's just so many features in Redux. We're not going to go over this. You can go over it all yourself. I mean, and here, this is really cool. Select image by Kevin.
Thank you.
Fantastic little product. You'll notice we use select to in almost everything. You can do data categories in a lot of these fields and dynamically pull them from your WordPress database. You can put filtering in those, again, using arguments, just like you would get post, the function for WordPress. All of these are integrated. Documentation. We also have for the raw field a flag where, thanks to another user as well, where you can specify this is a markdown. So this person included the document, a markdown file, and it automatically converted that markdown file to documentation that you can have within your panel. How's that for easy? Makes it easy for you to do documentation, and all you have to do is give the absolute path, and boom, it will automatically output it for you. Date option, and Kevin is releasing date and time coming forth in a little bit. Button select. Info fields, raw fields, custom callback fields. But now we're going to get in a little bit into premium, a few different fields that we offer for a premium option. You can go to Redux Framework and click on extensions. Icon select. So this is really cool because the icon select, you actually specify the CSS file for your font of choice. It could be Font Awesome or whatever. It will parse that file and automatically dynamically generate all of this. Also, it will append to the front end that font file for you, so you don't have to do anything but just specify a path. I mean, that's another feature. Let's see. Okay, we also, for basic support, built into Redux right now is basic customizer support. Now, customizer allows you to take fields that WordPress supports at date and update them dynamically here. So if a field is supported, it will automatically by default be added. You can, of course, change that in arguments so that it's not specified, or you can do it one-off. I want this field, but I don't want that field. what it'll do is when you actually change a value, we don't have any CSS selected here, but it does a dynamic preview here and allows the user to actually see the changes that would occur if they made these changes. Now, this is built into your Redux panel. You don't have to do anything to get this feature. How's that for simplicity, right? So that's another feature that we offer, and that's default. There will be a premium extension coming out with full double panel slide outs and all the fields in their beautiful glory beyond what WordPress standardly supports. And we will be releasing that here coming up. We also have a concept of widget areas. This is another a premium extension where you can allow your users on the fly to create a widget area dynamically. All they have to do is specify a name, and now it's a widget field that they can add anything they want to and use later. In concert with that is the concept of meta boxes, which we are still perfecting, but it's really simple and super close. As you'll see, meta boxes are exactly the same as Redux framework itself. You can specify where you want it to go, and the arguments are exactly identical to Redux framework. What's really cool is if you use a global variable, I don't know if you're aware, but Redux creates a global variable for you. That global variable is how you access all of your data. If you're utilizing that and say your layout is shared with the layout in your option panel, for this given post, this value, if it's different than the panel, will override on the front end. What that means is you can code once your layout, and each post can override your default panel layout without any effort on your part. You just specify the same ID and it will override as long as you're using the global variable. Also, the concept of folding or requireds will carry across panels. If you set a hidden value, if you say, I'm going to link this media field to this layout, it will automatically propagate, and so you'll be able to control visibility. You can add unlimited meta boxes as you want. So that's a fun and interesting feature. Let's see. Oh, short codes, our last little thing. Short codes is a little extension that we created that gives your users some basic data points. Blog info is a function on WordPress. We've integrated that and a bunch of other little features and theme info as well. And also a date function. I think that there should be a short code for date. I think you should be able to say at any time it is 2012 or 2014, excuse me. So that's what's
Good time
there.
machine.
Yep, sorry. Okay, so that's essentially our overview. Now, we are going to open it up really to you, and we can go and look at anything. So let's go ahead and raise your hand if you want to ask a question. We'll put you on, or just message everybody, and we'll start answering questions.
Hey, Dovy, we got a question up already
Go for it.
that I was starting to answer, but it's more right up your alley, so I'm just going to let you answer it, which is it possible to hide the options page and show only the customizer?
Yes, actually, you can disable any menu item you want. We built that in there. So yes, it is possible. The customizer at this date is not fully, doesn't have full exposure to all of the features of Redux, and so it's useful. It makes it easier, but it would be more powerful if you did both. Let me show. Oh, whoops. Let me show you this. Go back here. Oh, wrong desktop. Sorry, everyone. This menu right here is you can disable on or off, and then there can also be a menu that appears here that you can disable on or off. So yes, that feature is completely available to you. Anyone else?
Next question.
Yep.
And I'm going to go ahead and answer this one. Is there any developer license for premium extensions that we can purchase once and integrate in unlimited themes?
Currently at this date, no. Go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say the answer is we do have a developer license, but it's per product. We don't currently support a once for unlimited products option. If that's something that people are interested in, if we get enough interest in it, then sure, we'll probably add it.
The reason for that is we're going to make changes, and it's a yearly subscription type of thing. So if you purchase a product, you get a year of updates and support. If we make a new feature, we'd ask you to support the framework because we actually turn around and we'll pay developers who contribute and other people with the money you fund. Basically, we use it also to sponsor WordCamps so that we can be involved and bring people around. So all of your money goes to something good, and we hope that you like the product. Now, Elias has a question. Go ahead, Elias. Whoa. Okay. You can message your question, and I guess we'll answer it that way. Anybody else have a question, or should we start diving into the actual code?
We got lots of questions posted.
Oh, let me load my questions. I don't even know where they are.
Yeah, lots.
Oh, 59. Holy cow. Okay. I'm sorry. Go for it, Dan. Just choose one and answer it.
All right, you showed how to create a widget area, but how do you choose the context for where that widget area is used?
Okay, so let me load my little... Yeah, I'm a developer. I have like 20 windows open, so let's see which one it is. Okay. Come on, go back. Why don't you answer another question while I'm getting that ready?
Okay.
RE has a question.
Go for it.
RE, are you there?
Hi. Yeah, I'm here. Okay, my question is about the icons that you can buy and integrate, basically. How would one actually go about using that in a theme? Because I've noticed it's only like integrated into the options panel, but how would you actually use it to display in certain areas on your site?
Yeah, so
want
what
that,
it
Kevin?
returns for you is, here I'll show you an example. So it returns for you actually an array of the value of the icon that's selected. And it will automatically take that icon if you say in Q front end, and it will take the style sheet of that icon or web font and append it to the web. So what you have to do is, as a developer, all you have to do is use the theme, use that little extension, and then pass an argument back. So let's take for an example, we're using elusive icon. So elusive icon has a prefix of elusive, and then you do like el icon flag, right? I don't know if there's a
Yeah.
flag, I'm just throwing it out there. All you would have to do is you specify here, I'm going to say my prefix is el, I'm going to say my selector is el, and then when you output it on the front end, you do I class equals elusive, and then the value. Does this make sense?
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And we'll take care of the rest, because the whole point of Redux is to reduce your effort, right? And so that's what this is doing. So this is bad coding. You always do PHP echo. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's what you do. So the user
Bad
can
Dovy.
choose whatever they want. This doesn't matter. I'm actually loading that example on demo.redux. I'm pulling the CSS for that font from the Font Awesome CDN. It doesn't even have to be local. It can be a URL as well. So you just have to give the
Okay.
full path, either a URL or a file path, and it will automatically append.
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
Hopefully that saves you time, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think it's going to.
anyone else have a question? Well,
Thank you, RE.
Okay, let's pull up the question panel. Who has that? I can't get mine to load.
I'm sorry if I can't pronounce this. Alberuni has a question.
Go for it.
Alberuni, you there?
Abarni. Azad? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have them open.
My name's Dovy das Romualdus Pokshti, so I understand.
Yeah.
Is your mic working? I guess he's not. We'll leave him unmuted until he comes back, so just keep him unmuted.
All right.
I can't get my questions panel to pop up.
It's under attendees.
Oh, there it is. Holy cow. Wow. Okay, everyone. Okay. So the customizer, I'm going to answer this. This is a question from Dimitri Longo for the customizer. Now the customizer, by default, will automatically, if you leave the sample configuration as it is right now, it will take all of the fields that are possible to load into the customizer, the ones that are supported natively by WordPress, and it will implement them here and link that data with your panel data and also with your global variable. So all you have to do is make these changes. Now, every field we support does not support it. How you make these changes and specify which ones you want to use is in your sample config. If you go to a sample config, here's, oh, come on. Why are you not loading over there? Oh, I'm in presentation mode. Let me turn that off. Okay, now we go. Okay, here's a sample config. Go over here. Sorry. My bad. Sample config. Okay, inside here there are two fields, customizer. If you set this to true on the arguments, all fields that could be supported by the customizer will automatically be appended. If you set this to false, then no fields will be specified, unless when you're going through, you specify on each field for an argument customizer set as true. And the reverse is true. If this is set to true, and on any specific field or section you specify false, that section and or that field will not be included in the customizer. I hope that makes sense for you. Okay, so someone was asking, scripts and styles and are loaded based on which fields. So the fields that load dynamically CSS for you are the ones that it would make sense to. So background, border, color. Right now we don't have color gradient or color RGB. No, I think we did color RGBA. Dimensions, which is size and width. Link color, obviously. Spacing and typography, and of course the icon select. So there you go. Now somebody asked they wanted to look at presets. So let's look at presets. You remember that field I was showing you? I had two options. I had two different images that I appended here. So I specified an array for those different options. And then I said, oh, I'm going to append into that also presets. I'm going to do it in two different ways. I just did this so that you could see. You just append in this array what fields, you match the field ID, and whatever value you want that field to be changed on when the user specifies this preset. Now, what's also cool about that is if a user has selected a preset, it will automatically show as highlighted here in the panel, provided that the user does not actually change any of those values that are created. So where is this styling? No, it's in home settings. So you remember earlier we changed it? Here, I have jQuery slider and slider 2. If I change one of these sliders, now I'll get a visual response that I'm no longer on that preset. I'll hit the save, and no longer it will be highlighted, so your users can know whether or not they're using a preset or not. So that is the preset field. So there you go, scroll down, and now nothing is highlighted.
Dovy,
Yes?
we have a fairly good question here. Jason asks, if using Redux for a plugin, is it best practice to include it within the plugin or require users to install Redux in addition to the plugin that it's being used on?
I'm going to take that one, Dovy,
Go for it.
because that was the one that I fought for a long time. When I first started working on Redux, it was with the intention of it being embedded. And when we did the initial merger and started working on the concept of a Redux plugin, I actually fought that for a very, very long time because embedding just seemed easier. However, what I ended up realizing is if you have 10 people that have developed themes and plugins using Redux, probably 8 of them are not going to bother to change class names, which means you're going to get a lot of conflicts. Also, we're constantly updating. So if you're embedding it, that means that we have to rely on you to update your framework as well. That doesn't work out too well. The plugin really, really simplifies all that because it guarantees that everyone has pretty much a universally similar experience. The plugin is always up to date. Well, as
The
far as the
plugin is a
stable version
little
is
bit
anyway.
behind because we care about stability. The plugin will
Yeah.
be stable.
Yes. And the plugin guarantees that there's no conflicts. So honestly, I highly recommend using the plugin.
It
It's just
also
not worth the headache.
it overrides embedded, if I'm not mistaken.
It does.
Yeah, so if you have embedded and somebody installs the plugin, the plugin will override the embedded. Now, if you're in another plugin, you need to make sure your plugin doesn't load until plugin's loaded. So you need to add it to that hook for that feature to occur. Otherwise, your plugin will supersede everybody. That's just how it was built, unfortunately. There's no way around WordPress's little flaws.
I think there's also a question of the deploy issue. Say somebody has a theme that uses Redux as a plugin, how would they go about getting that installed?
A great resource, and we'll eventually maybe roll our own, is TGM. It's a little class that you can install. Go ahead, Dan.
This is kind of one of my little pet projects now. Dovy, I think I told you about this. TGM is awesome. It's stable and it works really well. Basically, you include the TGM class in your theme or plugin, and you say when this plugin is activated, it needs to require Redux or whatever. And it'll pop up a little notification for the user that says this requires Redux framework. Click here to install. Well, the guy who originally wrote TGM is this developer named Thomas, and he's a great guy. And he's been kind enough to let me into his little developer world and show me what the next stage of TGM is. It's actually being completely rewritten with hopefully a little bit of help from me. Hopefully he takes my advice on certain things. The next version of it is actually really, really slick, and it's not coming soon enough, but it is coming soon. So for now, TGM is awesome. In the future, we may roll our own, and there's also going to be the successor of TGM is called Crux.
You know, so my suggestion, if you're a theme dev and you don't want to risk that, embed and also use TGM to allow them to install the plugin. That way your theme or plugin isn't crippled because a user doesn't want to install something else, but you also get the feature of updates. That's a safe bet, but if you want to do it, just force your users to install something, just use TGM.
Another little note on
I'll be right back.
Okay. Another little note on using the plugin. Like I said, I do highly recommend the use of the plugin. However, we've seen a lot of times where a developer will require the plugin but will not handle a situation where the plugin doesn't exist properly. As a result, when someone goes, oh, I don't need this, and clicks the deactivate button, it crashes their site. So if you're going to use the plugin, you definitely want to have a handler in your theme or your plugin that says, if Redux is not found, then fail gracefully. Don't just crash.
The last time I used TGM with another premium theme, if you try to uninstall the plugin because the theme used TGM to install it, it did send back a message that said installing this will cause so and so theme to fail, or it required it, one of the two.
Themes and plugins can be set as optional or required. If they're set as optional, it won't actually tell you things will fail if this is removed. If they're set as required, it will. Jamie asked a really good question, which just disappeared. People are asking so many questions.
I answered that. Sorry.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. What was
that
it?
Needs to be answered publicly.
What was the question again?
Is there a GUI interface for creating options?
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. It's coming. Eventually, we want to build one, but right now you have to make it. But the options array are so simple that even a beginner programmer can do it. So let me just go over that really quick. You have the concept of sections. Each section is a tab in your panel. You have a few options for that. And then within that, you just create an array for each field. That's it. Once you're done doing all of that, you append to new, and you just pass in the sections and your specific arguments. That's it. Now, somebody was trying to do this, and I want to publicly state that if you try and update your panel from, say, a plugin and also your theme, if you run this bit of code, it will duplicate your panel. You cannot, because of how Redux works, because of a global variable, and because we allow multiple instances, every time you create this, you recreate an object that will redo everything you've done. So you'll get double page loading. Let's really quick I forgot to go over this, and this is really powerful. If you're SMOF or option tree user, this portion is for you. So here we have an example theme, Avada. Everyone knows Avada, or has heard of it. If you haven't, grossed $2.7 million. Theme Fusion, fantastic. They're amazing, right? So Avada uses SMOF, the version of SMOF that previously existed, right? So it's fully functional in here. We have what's called the Redux converter. So if you go to your plugins and you have an instance of SMOF or option tree and you search for Redux converter, install it. It also has TGM in it, so it will prompt you to install Redux framework, but I've already got it created in this instance. You will see, oh, whoops, forgot to activate the plugin. Whoops, it's already installed, sorry. So go to my plugins, installed plugins, not add new. And if I activate Redux Converter, a new panel to my left will appear. You'll notice it says SMOF to Redux. And oh, lo and behold, all of the options of SMOF, oh, sorry. Kevin, when you're typing, if you could mute yourself, that'd be cool.
I'm sorry.
No worries. When you run this, you'll notice, oh look, here we have the SMOF panel, right over here, and here we have the Redux panel. We have taken all of the options and all of the data of the SMOF instance and deployed it in Redux. So you can basically try Redux out today. If you have a field that is custom, that hasn't been utilized before, that we don't integrate, we'll give you a little notice here. This field is custom or unknown. But otherwise, everything's identical. It's just in the Redux array. Now, it's even cooler because what we do is we create an option for you to export. And what this exporting will do is it will allow you to say, I'm going to put it in a new database. Here's Avada option. So this is my new key stored in the database. I'm going to enable data migration. I want to actually generate a data migration function in my class that on theme activation, it will take all of my data and convert it to Redux. So you could redeploy this for a theme that's already out there. Global variable. With Redux, you can set a global variable. SMOF had their own global variable, SMOF data, so you can specify that here. And remove or delete old data migration, I wouldn't suggest that. But if you click View Config File, what this will do, or download, is it will automatically generate for you a fully functional class with all of your options converted and all of your data converted. You can then use this class, include it. You'll notice it generates a unique identifier, so you won't have class conflict. And you can run Redux immediately from an existing SMOF or option tree theme. We're going to be adding more converters for different frameworks as we see a need for them, but right now we support option tree. I'll show you that as well. Option tree and Redux. So here we have an option tree framework. If you look here, second page down, and now we have option tree to Redux. So here's our option tree panel. Got a text field and a background called Coolio, and here we have a text field and a background called Coolio. So we're trying to make your life easier as developers. And so migration, if you're a SMOF user or option tree user, it should be simple. If you're an NHP user, you're going to have to learn a little bit of syntax because, to be honest, the syntax is virtually identical. They're just different field names and a few different ways of doing things. So you'll have to take a little bit of time. The reason for converter isn't great enough, and most of you have already kind of converted as it is. But that is the Redux converter. Give it a try today. No risk. Okay, so let's see. Also, you'll notice that I have 2 instances of Redux framework at once. Also, if I go to my plugins, with Redux framework is a demo theme that is activated that you can ship with and people can try, or you can disable that as a dev, but we made a little bug. But you'll notice now 3 instances of Redux framework running at the same time, 2 from the same plugin and 1 from another plugin. You can have unlimited instances of Redux at once. Okay, Dan, you had something?
Yeah, a couple things. Um,
So a license is, people are asking about
that
licensing.
was the one I was looking for.
Yeah. Uh, what is the difference between commercial license or not? The framework, the core, the plugin, the option panel will always and forever be free. We will never, ever charge in any way. That's GPL3. You're welcome to use it, redistribute it, no questions asked, do whatever you like. If you make a big change that it does an improvement, we ask you to contribute. You know, that's GPL. But for the extensions, those premium things, if you go to reduxframework.com/extensions, you will find a list of our premium extensions. You can purchase those right now, and these are have different licensing and pricing per product. You have the option of 1 site, 2 sites, or uh, 1 commercial product. So there's licensing. I hope that answers your question, Craig.
So, someone brought up a question that's something that I've actually debated. Um, we haven't really talked about it, but I think it's an interesting idea. I just didn't think anyone would go for it. But since someone actually asked about it, I want our users' opinions. Someone asked if we actually sell any sort of swag. Um,
Yes, I
we
love swag.
don't at the moment, but if you guys want it, we'd be more than happy to start. So if you want it, please just let us know. Type it in chat or something, and if there's a handful of people that want it, then we'll start doing it.
You know what? Let's make it even better. If you want to donate to the framework a little bit of money, say you donate $5 or $10, if we get $100 of donation where you say in your donation, I want swag, we'll bring it to WordCamp San Francisco because we're
There you
going.
go.
So we just need, 10 people donating $10 to the framework, and we will bring t-shirts for everybody that donates. And, if you want more, we'll bring a few extra, we love swag. Swag's great. Okay, so there's a question by Jason Ball about the option or the sidebars, the dynamic sidebars. Now, like I was saying before, here I'll go back to the demo. Too many windows. Too many windows. There we go. With widget areas, it will actually create these widgets as if you have your own, as if it's a native widget that you've already programmed inside your theme. So you can use them like you normally would. They best work in succession with the meta boxes because with the meta boxes, you can now specify, hey, I want a sidebar over here. And so that's what you'd have to do in that regard. But if not, you can do your own custom metabox coding if you don't want to support us in that option and do it that way. So it's completely capable and pretty easy to do. Does that answer your question, Jason, I hope? Thank you, Jason. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, custom post type for metaboxes. So here, let's go back to the metaboxes config. Let me show you something that's cool. So here's the icon select config. Here we're having a code mirror and add date coming. With sidebars, you can also specify a few ones just by doing this that will always be installed in your instance. So you can name them whatever you want, and the ID is generated from the name, and you don't have to deal with it, and it automatically adds it for you. You'll notice that on our little widget area, when you go to add a content or a widget area, if it's deletable, it's deletable. But you'll notice custom sidebar 1 and custom sidebar 2 were also added by that sidebar class, and they are not deletable. They will always be in that instance for the theme. Now, going back to metaboxes, here I will show you really quick the argument for metaboxes. So, you know Redux framework. sections fields, right? All you do is pass in your standard sections field to right there. Now the only difference, oh, this option went away, sorry. The only, see, documentation, I'm still working on it. The only things you have to do is wrap those arrays inside a parent array, the metabox array. And that option is what meta types you want, what post meta types. You can specify anything you want. And then also the position, whether or not you want it normal, advanced, side, high, core, default, low. That's it. If anyone's ever tried to do meta boxes, it is painful. And we don't think it needs to be that way, which is why we created this. And it coming forward, if you buy it right now, you'll notice that there are a few mistakes. I'm sorry, we were preparing for this webinar. We'll get them worked out this next week. But know that we will be supporting very soon CSS output and also validation. Those two things right now are not supported by metaboxes, but they will be shortly.
Dovy,
Yes.
you wanted to talk about tracking.
Thank you.
Can I
Go for
interject here? Because
Yep.
this is kind of an important question.
What question?
Someone said if we reference a premium extension in a theme or plugin, then roll that out for resale, how do we require the client to buy that extension? I think there's some misunderstanding there.
Yeah, so all of our extensions, there are different options. So I'll just go really quick to meta boxes. There are three. Go ahead.
Before we even get into the pricing model on our end, I think the big misunderstanding is that a Redux extension isn't actually a WordPress extension per se.
Yeah,
it is. You don't have to install it like a WordPress extension.
Correct. It's not a plugin. It's not anything like that. It's something you embed in your code. You add a hook with your option name, which is where your key for your data being stored, and it does the rest. With this, if you buy a commercial license and you sell it to 4 billion people, we don't care. You've bought a commercial license. With these two, if you want to use it on your personal site, go ahead. If you want to use it on 2 to 5 sites, go ahead. But if you want to sell it in a product, we ask you to support us by paying that. Glad that helps.
Someone said earlier that our pricing model was a little bit high. I'm going to disagree with you on that, because if you're looking at the commercial license, you're looking at selling your product. If you're selling it on ThemeForest, you're looking at a minimum of $50 per purchase. By that standard, you know 2.5, like Dovy's showing, purchases, and you've already paid for your license, and then the rest of it is pure profit for you.
Or let's put it more in real terms, 70%. You only get 70% of your effort. We're asking you for 4 sales for a feature that saves you hours, endless hours of work. So we ask you to support us on that. If you don't want it, understandable, you're welcome to program your own. We're trying to keep this framework alive and implement. Right now, Jesus asked, could we buy all of them at a price for all? Right now, we don't have that option. We will in the foreseeable future have a package option, but not right now. Steve, you can message me on Skype if that's frustrating. We can easily talk about it. Just think about how much time it saves you. I mean, I make a good chunk an hour, and that's basically an hour worth of effort. So I thought, you know, even if you make 25, it's going to save you 2 hours of work. So that's why I priced it that way. I would rather be able to give you discounts and be able to keep doing what's going. And Nathan, thank you so much for saying that the pricing's fine. We'll have varied opinions on this, and if you're like an open source project, and it's just hard. I mean, we have to keep this project going, and we've got a big team, and we're going to make fantastic products. We ask you to support us. Yeah, thanks Jason Ball as well for that comment.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on what Dovy just indicated. You have to remember that Redux at its core is an open source product. We don't make a penny off of Redux itself. And probably 80% of our users don't actually buy the premium products. They don't need it, which means that we're putting countless hours. I mean, Dovy and Kevin especially can tell you just how much time they put into the development of this that takes away from their ability to actually bring in money for their families. So look at this as, our little way of actually supporting our team.
Yeah, and for everyone to know, yeah, we will continue to do things. We'll add marketing, we'll add videos. I'm sorry that we haven't. The extensions are new, and honestly, we got everything together because Envato was making that article, and we wanted to make sure everyone understood what was going on, and so we pushed really hard. And Hassan, thank you so much. We love you too.
All right, tracking.
Actually, just going back, Jason, it is per year. Every extension, if you buy it, you only get a year of support. If you want to use beyond that year, we're going to have to ask you to buy a new subscription because we change things so often. We cannot justify with this small user base. I mean, we're in a tight little narrow user base here, but most of you are making money off of your product. So we ask you to give back, and that's why we have the model we have. So you'll notice in Redux, we'll go back a little bit. We have tracking. So if everyone goes here, Redux Framework/statistics, we'll show you what we get out of that tracking. When a user installs Redux and they run it, they have the option to allow tracking. That's anonymous tracking. And all it does is it allows us to have statistics, but more than statistics, we get to know what WordPress versions we're working on, what languages we're working with, the top themes that are utilizing it, the different plugins that are being utilized so that we can know what's going on. Now, we're offering a feature for people who pay the premium support. If you subscribe to premium support, we will give you your own ID and a view into this data so that you as a developer can know what your users are using. It's not perfect, it's not a forced tracking, but it allows us to at least have a general idea. So if you knew that there were 231 or 2,431 of your users that use Contact Form 7, and you found there's a bug in Contact Form 7 in your product, oh my gosh, you need to actually put the time into it because that's the most used plugin in Redux Framework, sister plugin, right? And so that allows you to have that. And so we will be giving this, again, it's for premium support. What premium support gets you is you get my Skype ID. You get to interact with Skype. If you have already interacted with Skype, you'll know that I'm very willing to help, and so is Kevin, and so are many of us. But you actually support us in putting the time to help you, right? Because I will log in, I will take your code base, and I will help you fix whatever problem you're facing because we believe in the product that we have, and we hope that you support us. And this is one of the benefits of supporting us. But right now, we have 5,501 tracked Redux instances. That's not installs, but instances. We know whether or not they're multi-site. We know their users. We know the number of posts. We have products that run blogs that have over 620,000 different posts. That's incredible. That's great to know. And Redux is only growing. Last week it was 400,000. So it's just really kind of great. Paul, to answer your question, the help you guys need, contribute information and donation/purchasing things will help us to continue forward because we want to make this our day job. That's what we want to do. Okay, so someone wants a mug instead of a t-shirt. We could do that.
That's fine. I'm getting those anyway.
I get somebody who
I'm a
does
coffee
that
junkie.
stuff, so.
Okay, now this is a very good question from Huran Basic, or Basic. If a theme has Redux 3.0 and a plugin with 3.1, and the plugin overrides the theme version, will it work or will it break things? We are doing our best to ensure that even if we change something, we put in what we call a shim, or what I call a shim. So if we change an argument, we do an if test. If this argument exists, use this instead. There are a few situations where that's not true. A few of them that we probably should, but we will endeavor and always make sure that things are broken. If you come back to us and we have done something that breaks your theme or plugin, let us know and we'll have a fix out immediately. We can redeploy to WordPress.com at any time, and we are here to support you, and it doesn't matter to us. We want to make sure that no matter what, Redux is always working. So please, the plugin, by theory, should be perfect, but there may be instances where it's not, and we'll fix those. We'll stand behind our work. Okay, let's see. But I know, yeah, so to answer the question from Alexander, the model of lifetime purchasing for anything is great for places like Redux Framework, Theme Forest rather, because Theme Forest has 2 or 3 million users. But for constant developers, a small team, you saw we have a small team, it's not possible. We need support yearly, and so that's just what it's going to take, and that's why we have the model as it is, and why we probably will never do lifetime. We might for an exuberant amount of money. If you want to donate an exuberant amount of money, we'll give it to you. But yes, yearly is what we're doing. Okay, so another question for MetaBoxes for Sandeep. Okay, to select double sidebars, well, here's a great thing. We have the select field, and our select field allows you to specify sidebars. Now, okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of a dive into the code. This will be useful for people. We have what's called WordPress data, or get WordPress data, get. Okay. And we have a series of functions that you can append a data field to certain issues, certain fields, namely text, multi-text, select to, etc. You can specify categories, menus, pages. So what you would do to easily add sidebars with MetaBoxes is you'd create a new field of type select and pass in data menus. That's it. If you want to have 2 different sidebars, if you want to have that option for your users, you then create 2 different IDs and do the exact same thing. Here's a declaration in a sample config for sidebars. Here it is. There's checkbox, but let's go to, you can do checkbox. Okay, but it's the same thing. If you just change this to select, you now have a drop-down with all your available sidebars accessible. And if you use MetaBox and pass that to your MetaBox, there you go. Okay, I hope that helps, Sanjeet. Thank you so much, Jason. Nice to see you. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, library of options list. Support is pretty much on our repo for most users, but we also have what's called a wiki. And that wiki, again, like we stated before, is open edit. Here you can go and click on table of contents, fields. Here are fields. There are a few of them that are missing. Some of the arguments aren't perfect. If you find something that's missing, look in the code and tell us, or, well, don't tell us, update the wiki. It's open edit. So please just update it for us. Help the community. But here are all the fields. Here's all the different options. I mean, let's take a look at this. This is button set. You can specify compiler required options. You can pass in array. You can pass in colors, gradients, etc. So this is your baby. This will help you with everything.
It's my baby.
Thank you, Michael. We think it's an awesome Michelle, or Miguel, or whatever, however you say it. There's so many nations in this webinar. We appreciate all the support. Okay, anyone? You're awesome. Any other questions? We're here to answer anything. With Meta, I just add MetaBox, pass the. Yes. Okay. So this is a question for Alexander. With MetaBoxes, if I pass in page options and I have the page template for every post, yeah. So if you pass in the page ID, the custom post type, those MetaBoxes will only appear on that custom post type. So you just specify that. Does that answer your question? Okay. Another question from Steve: is the framework themable? Yes. That's an entire point. So go over here to your wiki and go down here and look, adding custom panel CSS. And look, we have a wiki article for how you do it. Now, something that's interesting about Redux is we integrate less, but we'll be switching probably over to SaaS on all of the fields. So if you're in dev mode, so that you're aware, if you're a developer and so that you want to know, if you're in dev mode, anytime you utilize a specific field, the data will be pulled here from image select CSS within the specific field. If you're off of dev mode, instead we pull everything into this pre-compiled CSS file that has everything called redux.css. This includes all of our third-party vendor CSS files and Redux files in a compressed file. So if you encounter a bug of some kind, please make sure that you have dev mode on so that it will specify the actual line. Because if you have dev mode off and we have, say, a JavaScript error, it will tell you there's an error on line 1. Well, line 1 is just one string because everything's been sandwiched together into a single JavaScript file. So that's not helpful to us. But if you let us know and turn off dev mode, we'll know exactly where the bug is. So know that when you're making issues on the tracker.
And also the current version you're using.
Yes. We update whenever we make a change. If you'll notice at the bottom, see, I have too many windows open. My wife would laugh. Redux framework, we update every major change, any change at all, we update down here. This is the version straight from WordPress.org. So it's 3.1.6, but if you download, what are we up to? 3.1.6.2 or something? It will display here. So let us know what version so we can know if we changed an error. Oh, a few other fun features. You'll notice the action bar sticks. The panel is completely responsive. Completely. You can reset a section. You can reset all options. You can turn off the sidebar and have everything collapse out. I mean, we have import and export. Whoa, apparently there's a JavaScript bug. I have to fix that one. Import export, it allows you to do a JSON field. Now, the really cool thing about import export is you can also create a URL. Say you have a dev site that you're making changes to. You can say, I want to copy the link. This link now can be accessed anywhere, and you can import that specific link into a WordPress instance. So you can make changes in your dev environment and deploy to your live without ever risking the front end of your users being upset. So there you go. You can also import from file, import the contents, import from URL. We've tried to build all these features. In most of the other frameworks, SMOF and NHP and others, they used to use compression and sterilization on that data. We just do JSON for a couple reasons. One, it's no longer compliant with Theme Forest, and we will not do anything that can't be supported in a Theme Forest environment because that is a huge marketplace, and we want to support that, and we think that their movements are good. Also, we want to make sure it's easy for you. So you can easily do any of that. Okay, so let's see. Asking more questions. Thanks so much for the support, Alexander. We love it. We're just getting praise. Okay. How can I compile less file via Redux? Okay, so let's talk about a compiler. So this is probably one of the coolest features of Redux and one of the primary reasons that I made it, as I did with the compiler, because I needed to be able to have a hook. So on your sample config, there is a thing, compiler. You'll notice a commented out compiler hook. Boom. This compiler hook will run a function. That function will only run when a field that is denoted manually, each field has to have the argument of customizer and to a value, either true or an array of CSS selectors. If you provide an array of CSS selectors, it will automatically generate a variable that will be passed down to you. If not, if you're just doing less compiling, you just want the options anyway. So you'll fire this function, which is compile action, and you'll notice in our sample config, we give you an example. Say you want to take that and you want to process a file and create a file called style.css. This is an example without a less compiler where we're just using the output for compiler. So if you set the output of compiler and you select CSS selectors for each field, it will populate this CSS file with those values. You can then, with this exact code, output that to a CSS file that you can include in your header. But if you're using a less compiler, basically you'd run the less function right here, allowing you to precompile from all the options. The reason we used compiler is less compilation or SAS compilation or anything like that is very processor heavy. And on shared environments, it slows the panel down. And we want to make sure that the panel is extremely fast. So you use a compiler hook only when you need it, and the rest of it you try and do through simple CSS output. I hope that answered your question. Okay. Okay, so someone activates a theme with Redux. Is it possible to get a message saying, this theme has an option panel, go click here to go for it? Now, actually, we have that already built in. Demo the plugin. Oh, actually, it's in Redux framework. You can take our code base, demo. Oh, anyway, on activation somewhere, that's something that you'll have to manually add. But there is an option where you can easily state, hey, I've got demo stuff here. So let's see, Redux get option, sorry, includes sample config hooks. Okay, admin notices. So if you go here to our function inside the repo, I have an example right here for you. You hook it into the notices. You'll notice admin notices is your hook. And all you have to do is pass into that a value, and you echo out a specific value. Now this gives you a different type. We use edited. There's also error. So that's just basic WordPress stuff. But here's an example code base for you available on the repo right now. Okay, so Craig Grella asks, is it better to include CSS changes via head in PHP or to run the compiler for everything? The question is really how much. So you can cache with PHP caching. Anything added to the head can be cached. CSS files, the browser does more caching because when we include a file, which usually inside Redux, and you should do it too, when you enqueue something, you should set the date to the age of the file. That way you verify that that file is always the same, and the browser will cache that file. If you don't understand how to do that, look at the WordPress codex. But my suggestion is if you have a few fields, just go ahead and use the output. If you have a massive amount of fields, you're probably going to want to use CSS output. That way, that CSS file can be uploaded for, say, W3 cache. Make sure you upload it to a directory and it gets included so that W3 cache supports it. And we have some examples on the wiki. Thanks so much, Nathan. Have a great day. I hope that you really enjoy it. You're welcome, Craig. Major sponsors, we would love it. We would broadcast you everywhere in the world. We don't care because we just want to keep this product going. We have done immense growth. I mean, we have gone through and we have created a product that has grown 500% in 5 months. That is insane. Really, it is. So we'll take any sponsors, anyone who wants that free PR. We would love to take the support because we need it. Okay,
I think
so
Webu Design has a sort of a follow-up to a question
go for it.
about the importing. Is that we might not understand. He wants to know if he can do a one-click import dummy data. I think the way Smoth used to do it.
Oh.
And I think that you
Yes.
mentioned that because Envata ThemeForest doesn't allow that anymore. Am I right?
Okay, so actually with Redux, you can specify the default. For dummy data, there was a certain number of plugins that allow that. We don't have a field for it yet because you're not just talking about panel options, you're talking about all of WordPress. So at this time, the answer is no, because I don't think that's a big enough need for us per se. We'll build it if someone wants to A, fund it, or B, it gets requested a lot. But at this time, there's not an immediate need, but that is a really good idea, and we should put it on our list when we get to it. Right now, our roadmap, so that you know, is we have a page builder in the work, completely interactive, allowing you to use function callbacks to do anything and just works, and use all the fields of Redux for the specifications and customization of those. Also, we have tracking things that Kevin's trying to do. We've got to finish fixing the meta boxes, and then we would love to make a panel builder of some kind. We know that once we build a panel builder, it will be so simple. The problem is we have such complexity, and we'd love, if anybody wants to pioneer or be in with this and help us out and be a part, we'll help you, you know, and if you want to sell it, we'll sell it because we just want this to grow. Okay, so you're talking about option panel data. So quick import, it would be easiest to do something like this. So presets, I was talking about presets. If you take a preset and you just fill it and you say, put it at the top of your header, presets are just an image. You could just say import dummy data and you can select an image, just any image, and do it right now. So yes, it's built in. But also Redux, you can specify the default for everything. And that default will automatically propagate when they load their panel. You don't have to change that default. They don't even have to hit save. If you have a theme that you don't want the data to be saved automatically, there's also an argument to disable that. So that's all there. Thank you so much, Dave. I hope that you enjoy this. Does that answer your question, Webu Design? Okay, take care, Alexander. Okay, you're welcome, Webu, or however you say that. Sorry. Does anyone else have a question? I'm trying to wade through all these. I would like to see the presets work. Paul, did you get to see that? You showed me how to create a widget area. Blah, blah, blah. We kind of already did that. Anyone else find anything, please?
Greg wants to know the email to get a hold of us.
How about you just submit issues on the issue tracker? That's the best place. If you want the slides that we had, you can go to reduxframework.com/reduxwebinar.pdf. We'll be posting a blog post, but failed to load PDF. But there it is. You can get everything. So reduxframework.com/reduxwebinar.pdf. We'll have a blog post.
Dovy, he wants the email to talk about donations.
Oh, okay. That would be just Dovy@reduxframework.com. Or info@redux will get us all. So DOVY. We ask you to submit issues because if you do issues, everyone can benefit. Everyone can search on that data. Everyone can know how to resolve the problem you face. I will only ask you to email me if it's sensitive data, if you don't want to pass your config or your theme. Our transfer of choice, our product to transfer files of choice, at least mine, is WeTransfer. You're welcome to just add that support in there. But if you are asking for private support and you want to send code, if you could pay for premium support, even for just a month, we would really appreciate it. Yes, so the preset section, you create the screenshots. So I just want to stress that you create the images that get attached. So if you can easily make a preview. So when you go to, say, Avada, and Avada has this for the header. So to make these different headers, they coded it themselves. You don't have to. All you have to do is code the features in there, and we will automatically update their panel when they click. So that's a benefit you have. So you can basically ship with 20 different themes in one product if you want, or 20 different configurations. It's up to you. You're welcome, Paul. The builder extension, it is a big, painful thing. And unfortunately, I will be honest, that will probably be our most expensive extension because it is going to be intense. We're not just going to do basic stuff. We're going to go full out. So it's in development. I can't give you a time. I don't know how long it'll take. We've got a prototype and it's partially working. Well, it's working pretty good. I just broke it recently. But I want to take it a different direction so it's more user-friendly. So that'll take more time. Okay, anybody else? Can anyone else find a question to answer?
Searching. We should probably read these questions for people who download this later, who can't actually see them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. No, the Avada we did not create. We wish that we'd grossed $2.7 million. That was Theme Fusion. They are fantastic.
Cool.
I'm simply showing that because they're a very big theme. It's a name well known, and I wanted to show that we could even convert data from them. So if you're a SMOF user, know that the media field will be different. It outputs an array. Most media fields in all the frameworks pretty much support a URL to an image. I didn't think that was good enough. I provide a URL, the smallest size image. the attachment ID and the width and height. So that's all appended and returned to you. Thank you, Steve. Well, Dipesh, I really hope that you enjoy this. He said you guys have something great for the community. It's superb, blah, blah, blah. Thank you. It's not because of us. I hope that you all recognize that we are a compilation of 4 different products and 4 different communities. And it's taken a lot of time to get to this level, and we think that we can take it further with your help. Let's see. Yeah, a sample theme. Yeah, that's something that we've talked about doing. The greatest sample theme that you can use right now is Shoestrap. Go to shoestrap.org. There's also PDIG that's being produced. Those are 2 frameworks that work right now, that use Redux, that have a lot of options. Now, I will be honest, Shoestrap hasn't integrated all my goodies into it, and neither has PDIG. So they will take a little bit of work, but they will at least get you a start. I know Shoestrap because it's a little interesting. What we actually did, rather than having one config file, is we made each section modular with different hooks that you can hook into or remove. So it shows you how you can actually separate all of your code, including your option panel code, to each of your functions. So that's really powerful and a great example. So why duplicate it, right? You're welcome. Actually, Shoestrap, if you update to the newest version, Paul, they're now using the plugin, so you're already up to date. So as long as you upgrade to the newest version of Shoestrap, it's already there. Thank you, Craig. It's themable. Answered that. Gotta go. Thanks for Any other questions? We're trying to go through all of this. Gregor Wright. Did we give you information about the shortcodes? I'm glad we got you hyped. I hope that out of anything that you get excited about what's possible, because you should be spending your time innovating, coming up with new things, coming up with new ideas, not doing stuff that is mundane and has already been solved by us. If you're using your own code for typography, stop. There is no point. We already have it, and coming very soon is custom font upload, which will automatically append to the previewer and will dynamically append to your front end. So, I mean, that problem is solved for you. So don't worry. Okay, so Gregor Wright said, there's no need for you guys to defend your pricing. What was your question? A wee bit information on the shortcodes. Is there No. The shortcode function, let me just show you really quick. Redux Framework, docs, extension docs. This is not accessible by everybody because it's only accessible by people who have purchased it. But let me just show you what we've given for your users. This is the shortcode extension. It's not exactly, it's more for your users. So blog info, you can pass in data, and you can pass in all of the values available to blog info in addition to these. And anytime in WordPress Codex where it says use this instead of this, we fix that. So you will get the actual functioning URLs and etc. The same for theme information. Now, one thing that really bothers me with a theme information plugin, you have to capitalize everything. I got rid of that. You know, there are just various things that we've done to make it so you can just pass in theme info, and I want the URL, I want the logout URL, I want the style sheet URL. And then, of course, date. It's just a PHP date function that allows you to reproduce any date. And so this is just a helper class that I created, and I thought it was useful and gives the power back to your users. What you're interested probably is the full page builder, which will have a menu as well as interaction. I can give you a preview, actually. Don't tell anyone I did this, but here's the page builder.
I'm going to tell.
Okay, so Redux page builder. Now, it's broken right now, so mind that. But what we're doing is we're changing the style. It's similar to something that's been on the market before, and so we want to change it. So you select your number of columns. You say within the selected column, I want to add a module, and you can select different modules. So very similar to others. The problem is I want to make it more free floating. This confines the boxes to this area. I want to make it so you can drag and drop anything. So that's what we'll be fixing and changing. So all of this will have callback functions that you can run anything off of. So yeah, there will be hooks to build any custom block. That's the whole point. We'll give you a few basic ones and we'll implement some things, but you don't have to use any of those and you can add your own. That's the entire point. And it will all configuration for any of these pop-ups is exactly the same as Redux Framework. So basically you have full exposure on all sides, meta boxes, customizer, option panel, and shortcode / callback functions to give you what you need. So that's what we're building here. And this is why we're not working on an option panel builder, because we think a page builder is much more valuable to developers and to your users.
I agree, Gregor. It does look amazing.
Okay, more questions. Please pop them out. I'm here to answer. We're here to answer anything. T-shirts done automatically. Did everyone like this? Do you think we should do this frequently? We're thinking of holding a webinar the 15th of every month or something like unto that. So to get custom help, we can also have little chat groups or things. So we're here to support you. We really are.
Yeah. Custom help, and also an opportunity to talk about all the new stuff that we might have added over the course of the month.
Yeah, the Visual Composer looks a lot like Visual Composer. The difference is you'll have all the power of Redux and you'll have callback functions that you can utilize. So you won't have to be bound to shortcodes or JavaScript or any of that. Trying to make sure. So yeah, it is very similar to Visual Composer. The difference is it's a full exposure. It is very complex and it can do a lot. So we're trying to simplify it. The due date for the release of the Composer, honestly, you want to know the honest truth? When it's done and depending on support, because I have a day job, right? And we all have day jobs. And the more support we have, the more we can justify putting time into this project. I mean, we've only been going for 5 months. We've only created this in 5 months, but that's because we pulled a lot of the information together. Yeah, Michael, or Michelle, there are some problems with meta boxes. I discovered an issue with localization. I will have it resolved next week, and I'm really sorry. It separates the content. Yeah, it kind of does. Shortcodes, we'll build probably a shortcode class as well and extend it so that you can have a menu. I mean, I think I could build both. They're pretty much the same thing. The difference is this gives you more, and shortcodes aren't permitted by ThemeForest. And so to be bound to shortcodes means that each developer has to load their content in a shortcode in a plugin, which is kind of painful. So I recognize that some functions cannot be done by that, which is why I think a callback is much more valuable, which is why I built it this way. Hope that makes sense, Paul. Yeah, exactly. Visual lines, dash separating, making it super easy. Paul, if you'd like to interact with me about the potential of that builder, you're welcome to. Everyone, my Skype is Dovy Digital. I'll support you the best I can, but if you're not paying for premium support, you're not supporting me in helping you. So, does a WYSIWYG generator get generated? Greg Franklin asked that. Not yet. Again, that's going to be the premium customizer that's coming out further in time. Basically, we'll take every field. Has anyone ever looked at WordPress.com and looked at the customizer there? I just want you to know that that's what we're building. So it's going to be fun. Oh, anyone else want to ask a question or I'm just sitting here.
Ditto.
Is it still called Ditto if it's the third person?
Did I?
Did I? Did it? Okay, so here if you go to your blog and if you go to customize, this is what I'm building for Redux. But again, I need your support. So here's their customizer. Isn't that cool? But imagine this with all of the Redux fields. Their CSS has full output. Body, background, blue. And then you can, let's see, it's supposed to preview it. Huh. Oh, I had to purchase. I got rid of the preview. But yeah, so this is what we'll be doing. I've already got the code for it. I've already got it started. That will be coming as well. So imagine having a panel like this for your users. I mean, I think it's going to be really powerful. Okay, let's see. Yes, the question is from Matt Barrett. Yes, if you change anything in the customizer, the preview automatically loads the page, and if you're using your global variable, that data gets updated so that you can just do a preview right from the start. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Alexander went to bed. I'm not... how do we think roadmap will... okay, so someone asked, in terms of roadmap, how do you think Redux will develop? So let's be honest here. We have done a ton of work for free, right? We've given you a lot of tools. Even if you don't ever buy any single product or extension or even contribute to us, I honestly believe that we have the most powerful framework that exists for options. It can give you everything you need. From here on out, we're probably going to work on bug fixes for the core, user contributions wiki, but we're going to shift a lot of our development into the premium world because we need the support to justify what we're doing. We'll basically head in the direction of what people need and are willing to pay for initially. That doesn't mean that we're not going to support the core. It's very similar to WordPress.org. I mean, they have a customizer, but this is their customizer on WordPress.com, right? So that it's a premium experience for their premium users. And we will have to do that in order to continue forward. But we will not in any way leave behind the core because it's the basis of all that we do. If you're interested in developing an extension, you can go to Redux Framework, and there are two things for you. There's the extension loader, and then Redux extension boilerplate. So this is a way that you can override any field in Redux in your code. So what you have to do is make sure that you use this loader. There's a bug that Kevin's going to point out, and I'm going to have it fixed in a couple days.
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
Okay. But you run the loader before you instantiate your Redux object. The reason being how WordPress works with hooks. The hooks have to be present before it's run or they get left behind. So if you run the loader code save, you put it at the top of your functions.php file, then any field in here that you put in, there's a folder here you'll notice called extensions. Any field will essentially override the fields within Redux. So you can customize anything without ever modifying the core. Please, if you're a developer, do not modify the core in your themes. Do not. Utilize the core, keep it as is, use an extension instead. Otherwise, you're going to have problems. And another benefit to not modifying the core, say another plugin utilizes Redux, and you've tried to modify it in some way or have a custom shipping of the plugin of Redux. If you're using the loader works by using your option name, your specific key. So your data only gets applied to your panel, whatever you've specified as the option name. That way, features that you create don't get propagated to other people, and overrides you've made do not change other plugins and break them. So please use the loader. Does that answer your question, Nazim? Okay, so okay, so yeah, we can do, Matt, the question for shortcodes, we can do it both ways. At the current time, that's still a concept, very fluid, whether or not the page builder will push in just HTML or content, or if I'm thinking more along the lines of we'll utilize a callback. And in that callback, you can decide what to do, or you can load it in different places. Because I think that makes a lot more sense. Put the power back in your hands, not ours. Frequent webinars would be great. We're going to do that. Are there any other questions that I haven't asked? Okay, here's a question he went to bed, so it doesn't matter. Any questions that people have? anything at all.
For the person who asked about the music that was playing in the background, which I apologize for, I did turn it off. That was the Electric Light Orchestra, El Dorado.
Yeah, I love Ferris
Nice.
Bueller Days Out. Oh yeah, you're El Dorado. Sorry, blah blah blah. So Matt, did I just answer your question? Yeah, I think I did. I think that's a wrap. I mean, we've gone close to 2 hours now, an hour and 52 minutes. All of this will be accessible on YouTube very shortly. Okay, so Sandeep, getting sidebars dynamically, double or single, it meaning you choose what you want. You can have them. You could allow multi-select if you wanted, and then you could implement it that way. There's lots of different options. Why don't you ping me later? Okay, well, I think that's a wrap. We hope that you enjoy Redux Framework once again so that you're aware. Let's go back to here. This is the best way to get in contact with us. We're available. We're interested. We hope we love it. We know that this framework will save you hours, days, if not weeks of your time. We know it. So please contact us, contribute, be a part of the group. We love you guys. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.